Your speaker is not working properly. Testing, testing, 1, 2. Hey guys, I got to notice that my speaker is not working properly, so I might need to fix something. If you can tell me in chat if it's working or not. Maybe you can hear me and I can't hear you or something. We'll see. Well, hello. If you're watching the replay on YouTube and my voice is actually working, it is about noon. It is Thursday. We'll be starting here in about 4 minutes. Waiting for people to log in. If you can hear me, please say so in chat. To me, it's spelled Deontay. Justina and whoever I read is. Okay, well, I read whoever you are says they can hear me. Jacoby is here. Sweet. Yeah, so the idea is that I'm going to save this recording and I'll post it on YouTube for anybody that couldn't be here. In the vote, noon came out way more popular than the others, but I didn't ask if those people were unable to attend at noon. Alrighty. Let's get my shared screen ready. Not that. So was the reason for us being out today troubling to you guys, or just sort of like the one of those things? All right, Dayton. Yeah, don't worry about changing the name. It's all right. Yeah, have you guys, when you log in, you're going to be muted and your video is going to be off. That's an option to change it. But I need to let you know that if you choose to flip on your video, this is going on YouTube later. So just keep that in mind. It's more like, I don't care if it's going on YouTube. For some reason my text function isn't working. Hang on. There we go. So this is the skill of the day. We're going to give people a few more minutes to log in. Right now, it's already a pretty good turnout. Yeah, you guys might be struggling when it comes to algebraic thinking, but you're very tech savvy as a group. With one exception, as good as you guys are with technology, when it comes to emails, y'all have a problem where you put your whole message in the title, in like the title of an email. There's a whole box below it where you should put your message. Brody, just know that you're unmuted. Okay, it is noon. We're going to go ahead and start it. If you're watching the replay, what we're going to be doing is going over how to write slope-intercept form equations when you're only given 2 coordinates to begin with. So real fast, I'm going to go over what in the world slope-intercept form is. And then we'll talk about how we get there from two coordinates. Because so far this week, what we actually got to do while we were in person and not caring for either sick little ones or being out for the weird reasons. You guys were graphing slope-intercept lines when given the equation, and then you were writing the equation when given the line. Brandon, you're unmuted. I'm gonna see if I can change that. All right. So if you guys have a question, feel free to unmute yourselves and shout out. All right, let's go ahead and start with what in the world slope-intercept form is. Because this is our goal today, so we should have a reference. So why? Okay, so all of our answers today are going to be in this format. Y equals mx plus b. The two things we've got to figure out are m, which is the slope, and b, which is the y-intercept. Get my colors straight. So slope is all of these things. Sometimes it's called the slope, sometimes it's called the rise or run, sometimes it's called the rate. And b, this is the y-intercept. It's when x equals 0. It's where it crosses the y-axis. Now, the booger about today is that you're not going to have a graph to look at. You're not going to have a picture of any kind. You're only going to get two coordinates. So, oh, and by the way, this step-by-step process can be really gross. It can require a lot of scrap work. So we're going to try and break this down today into the main, like, 3 steps. And there's even a step 0, which doesn't really make sense to you right now, but it will. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a problem and we'll go ahead and get started. Right now, if you don't have paper and pencil, get it. I've got mine off to the side here because writing with the what do you call it? Writing with the mouse is a bit cumbersome. I might still have to do that. But if you don't have paper and pencil, get ready. Okay, so here's one. That everybody that got this problem missed it. Oh, you're not gonna be able to see that. Hang on, I gotta type it. Duh. Okay, so it says it wants the slope-intercept form equation when you're given these 2 points, -6, 5, and oh wait, I think I did this in a demo. Hang on, if I've already done this one in a demo, I'm gonna do a different one. Sure. I just remember the second coordinate was -3, -3. All right, try this one. So -8, -2, and -4, 6. Okay, so the first step we should all practice, and if we can't get past this first step, we really shouldn't even bother trying the rest of the problem. I'm sorry to say. We need to figure out the slope between these two things. So I mentioned there's going to be a step 0, and here it is. Now we've done this earlier in the year. Everyone needs to write down these two coordinates, and then you need to label them as x1 and y1, and then x2 and y2. So this is our step 0, as it were. So before we even start the problem, we're all going to do this. So -8 is x1. That means it's our x value from our first coordinate. -2 is our y1. That's the y value from our first coordinate. -4 is the x2. That's our x coordinate. That's our x value from our second coordinate. And 6 is y2, which is our y value from our second coordinate. So what we're trying to do here is calculate the slope. All right, so to do this, we're going to do a very, well, I'm hoping it becomes comfy, but what we're going to end up doing for step 1 is calculating the rise over the run. That's our unit rate. That's our slope. And we do that. I'm going to call this delta y. That means the change in y over the change in x. These are little triangles. So delta y over delta x, that's the change in y over change in x. We're going to take the ending y value and minus the beginning y value. That means we're going to do y2 minus y1. If I were doing this on paper, I'd probably write this 90% of the time until I've done so many of them that I memorize this. To get the change in x, we're going to take the ending x value and subtract the beginning x value. So that means we're going to do negative, that'd be x2 minus x1. We'll probably do a few of these before we even move on to calculating what b is, because everyone needs to get good at this first step. So now we just kind of substitute. So y2 is 6. So I'll put a 6 first, minus y1, which is -2. Now this minus sign doesn't count for that. If y2, I'm sorry, if y1 is -2, I need to nest that in parentheses. Welcome, whoever just joined. Oh, we're having a really good turnout. Some of you, I can see your names and tell you who you are. Others I can't. But hello and welcome, whoever NRSC new one is. All right, so that's the change in y is done. Change in x is going to be x2, which is -4, minus x1, which is -8. You guys can go ahead and post in chat what you think the end fraction is going to be for our unit rate. And I think you can set it so I'm the only one that sees your response, or you can send that to everybody. I'll leave that up to you. I'm going to go ahead and write these answers on screen, and then we'll discuss which ones have merit. Okay, I've gotten, ew, that's supposed to be an 8. Okay, let's try that again. By the way, I've got my fan on in this room. If it's creating a lot of background noise, just let me know. I've gotten 8 fourths multiple times. I've gotten 8/6 multiple times. Pretty much every one of these I'm getting multiple of. Some are direct messages, some are posted to everybody. I'm getting an answer of 2. So far, I think that is it. Some people have changed their answers. Okay, so just to make sure our calculations are going through. So negative, okay, so 6 minus a -2. The opposite of subtracting 2 is adding 2. So 6 plus 2, that'd be 8. So I agree that an 8 needs to be on top. And then -4 minus 8. So the opposite of subtracting 8 would be adding 8. -4 plus 8 would be 4. Now, so I actually agree with two of these answers, because 8 divided by 4, while it's valid, you guys need to get in the habit of simplifying when able. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So I would say that this is valid and this is valid, but it's a little bit better because it's simplified. The 8/6, the people that post that have corrected themselves. So yeah, that might have been just a bit of a typo or a bit of a miscalculation, but yeah, 8/4 is the rate. So this is only, this is like half of the hard work. Everyone needs to be really good at this before we even bother trying to write this slope-intercept form. So do you guys want to finish this problem or do you want to practice this more? Just post either the word finish or more practice. Waiting for chat to catch up. Because I vote we do more of these before we even bother writing the equation. All right, no one answered, so we're going with what I want to do. All right, so let me clear out some of this. All right, let me grab another one. All right, here's another one that in this particular class, nobody was able to get this one correct. Text, chat, color, blink. All right, so this one is 4, -8, and 8, 5. So there's a few different types of students in this chat right now. There's some of you that can probably go ahead and try this. Go ahead and start doing the work I just did. Others of you need to see me do all of it again, which is totally fine. And some of you might have just joined us and are just like, I don't know. All right, so step 0, go ahead and write down the coordinates on your paper and then label them x1, y1, x2, y2. If you're working ahead of everybody else and you want to take a guess at the rate, go ahead and send it to me as a PM. Don't announce it to everybody. That'll make people want to quit. Okay, so right now we're only trying to get step 1 finished, which is finding the slope. So we're going to be doing y2 minus y1, dividing that by x2 minus x1. Now our first one, it came out to be a whole number. That will not happen very often. Sometimes we'll have fractions. Sometimes they'll be improper fractions. Sometimes we'll have negative fractions. And nothing went wrong with that. Okay, so if I set this up correctly, y2 is 5. So it'll be 5 minus y1, which is a -8. So I need to nest that in parentheses. So that's y2 minus y1. x2 is 8. So that'd be an 8 here. Minus x1, which is just 4. So 5, okay, so again, whenever you see minus a negative, think of it as opposite. The opposite of subtracting 8 would be adding 8, so this would be 13. And 8 minus 4 is just 4. So quick note, I love seeing you guys transfer these into mixed numbers. Just leave it as 13/4. I'm doing hand gestures that no one can see. I'm saying leave it as 13/4. Just like this, just leave it like this. So yes, I know that at some point in your 5th grade career, you were trained really well to make, like, I know that this is equal to 3 1/4. So while that is true, I don't want that. Leave it, but leave it like this. Leave it as 13/4, because when we go to write it into the equation, we're going to want it to just be an improper fraction. Because what this means is the line goes up 13 and over 4, up 13 and over 4, up 13 and over 4. The moment we change it into 3 1/4, that gets lost. Like, how much am I going up and over? So that is unnecessary work. I'm all about being lazy. Let's just do this the fastest, simplest, most clean way possible. Yeah, and the decimal as well. Turning it into a decimal is totally not necessary, because what I want to see it as a stacked fraction, because the top number tells me how much we're going up or down, and the bottom number tells me how much we're going over to the right when we're graphing this. Okay, so that time I didn't get nearly as many people posting. Maybe they were just kind of waiting for the answer. So I'm going to leave this on the screen. I'm going to put up another one, and I want everyone to just go ahead and quickly work out their own answer, and let's see, and I'll just post what we get. So let's try this one. So we'll go from -9, 7, and we'll end at -6, -3. All right, I'm going to pause my share. I think you should still be able to see the board, but whatever I'll start writing on it, but you shouldn't be able to see it change. You guys can still see the whiteboard as it is right now, yeah? Okay, so I'm going to start doing my scrap work on the screen. You just can't see it. So everyone go ahead and get an answer. Yeah, it is. It is very, 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 very exactly the same as what we did in the beginning of the year. Dayton, that's a good observation. Except this time I'm going to make you, the end is different. This time I need you to actually write it as a slope-intercept form equation. Or I got the answers flowing in. Go ahead and send me your fraction when you get it. Okay, I've got two different answers, three different answers. Okay. So there's two main ways this is going to go wrong or right. The mistakes that are going to get made are probably, some of them are just going to be negative number mistakes, and others are going to be structure, like step-by-step mistakes, like you forgot to subtract, you put the numbers in the wrong place in the formula, something like that. So the best thing for you to do, in fact, probably the only thing for you to do, is to look down to your scrap work and see why your answer is different than mine. And you'll have to teach yourself not to make that mistake anymore. Okay, so I've got four responses. But on the first one, I had like 8 or 9. So I think I'm still waiting on a few people to get their answers and type them in. Okay, I'm gonna go and unpause. We can start sharing what happened. So here's my scrap work. So I get -10/3. Now there's always a chance that I made an error, but the other answers I had were -4/3 and +10/3. And 6/1. So right now you need to be looking down at yours, up mine, down at yours, up mine. We got to see what happened. I can make some guesses as to what happened. So first things first, you got to look right here and make sure that these values are all in the correct places. It should be -3, -7. Now I'm betting these people right here, the people who got 10/3, they might have accidentally did -3 minus a -7. No, that wouldn't have even gotten +10. Oh, right, right. Okay. So okay, so that is how you could get a positive. If you did 3, ew, what was that? If you did 3 minus a -7, that would get you 10. but this 3 is definitely negative, and this 7 is, yeah, and this 7 is definitely positive. Okay, so how do we get a -4? Okay, so -4, that would come from just doing 3 minus 7. So that's closer to correct, I guess you might say, but they forgot to make it a -3. The 6/1 is really perplexing. That one I'm not sure about. Oh, okay. I guess you could get a 6 if you did -3. Okay, if you did a -3 minus a -9, like if you flipped up which one was X and which one was Y, if you did -3 minus a -9, that's how you could get it. That's how you might end up with a 6. And that's why step 0 is so important. Labeling X1, Y1, X2, Y2, and not messing up that order is paramount. Like your whole problem is wrong if you mess that up. Okay, so step 0 is labeling X1, Y1, X2, Y2. And then step 1 is doing this formula, this pattern to correctly get a fraction that is the unit rate of your line. But that's not the end goal. The end goal is to actually write this in slope intercept form, which so we have more algebra work to do. But this is like we cannot progress unless you are going to get this correct. So we'll do one more, but after this one, we've got to, I have to go ahead and show people how to get to the equation bit. We're already 20 minutes in. So we will loop back to this. It's going to be in every single problem, but this process cannot get messed up. We have to attend to precision. I think that's math standard number 6, if I remember correctly. Maybe I should have those on screen. All right, let me clear up the board a little bit. Bleep. All right. Let me try a different class period and look at the ones they missed. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so this period, it doesn't look like there's a lot of success. All right, so we're gonna try this one now. This one, post in chat what you get as a unit rate, and then we're gonna go ahead and work this one to its result. So x1, y1, x2, y2. Go ahead and do step 0. Here it is. Go from -10, 3. And you bark at me if we've already done this one. Yes, as far as I know, school is on for tomorrow. We'll do a goal assessment, and I'm only gonna. I think I want to be fair to put one of these on the exam, but the rest of it will be either you writing the equation from the graph or making the graph from an equation. Yeah, I haven't heard any news otherwise. School should be on. Okay. I better start doing my scrap work. People are already posting what they got. So Y2. Yuck. Minus Y1. X2. Minus X1. I think it's -11/2. Yeah, check your numerator if you got Even if they did Jacoby, I don't think they would text Mr. Mathews with that information. Yeah, I don't know. They will eventually, but I'm not sure. We had a similar situation several years ago, like in the first days of school, and the people that did it got in a lot of trouble. All right, so -8 minus 3 is -11. -8 minus a -10. Remember, the opposite of subtracting 10 is adding 10. So -8 plus 10 would be 2. Okay, so that clears us past step 1. But now we have to talk about what we do next because the goal is to have this written in y equals mx plus b format. So here, let me go ahead and type out step 2, picking a color. All right. All right. So step 2, we have to find the intercept. So everybody in chat right now gets to make a decision. You get to pick. You need to choose either. We get a line. Okay. Pick either this coordinate or this coordinate. I do not care which. Okay, so when I say choose, here's what I mean. On your scrap paper, we're going to take the equation. Let me get my pen back out. All right, so for step 2, finding b, here's what you do. Write down y equals mx plus b. Now, once you've written that down, we are going to pick one of our coordinates. It doesn't matter which. I'll go ahead and go with -10, 3 because one of them isn't negative. So what that means is I have an x value, I have a y value, and then this thing over here, what we just found out in step 1, that's m. That's the slope. So we're literally going to replace those letters with their values in this sentence. So if we choose -10, 3, then the y value is 3. M is -11 over 2. The x value, I'm going to put it in parentheses. The x value is -10. And the only thing we don't know is b. Since b is the only thing we don't have an answer for, we can do the algebra of the rest of it, and we'll know what b is at the end. I'm going to scoot this up just a smidge. Okay, so your algebra skills really got to kick in here. What is -10 times -11? Whenever you have to multiply a fraction times a whole number, it's just a little sidebar. So when we have -11 time -11 over 2 times -10, that's really times -10 over 1. So -11 times -10. So that'd be positive 110. And it's still all over 2. Okay. Now, what is 110 divided by 2? So this would become, I'm gonna have to scoot it up over here to make room. This is why having your scrap paper and being able to work vertically is really helpful. So that means that 3 would equal 55 plus B. So just to back up, we filled in y, m, and x because we chose a coordinate and we already had m as a slope. Then we had to do some fraction multiplication. Negative 11 over 2 times negative 10 would give us a positive 110 over 2. And then 110 divided by 2 is 55. So here's where we're at. 3 equals 55 plus b. Now we got to reach way back to like November, I guess, when we were doing two-step equations. We want to get b by itself. Yeah, Lane's getting there. If we want to get b by itself, we've got to take away 55 from both sides. And 33, I'm sorry, 3 minus 55 would be a negative 52. And I have to admit, if I was in 8th grade and I had negative 52 as part of my answer, I might be thinking I did something wrong, but nope. That is all right. So the 55, here's where it came from. I'm going to highlight this in pink. M. We figured out that M is negative 11 over 2. So when we substitute in our values, I put in a negative 11 over 2 here for M. We chose negative 10.3 as our coordinate. That means that the x value would be negative 10 and the y value would be 3. So when I substitute in this x and I put in a negative 10, we have to multiply the negative 11 over 2 times the negative 10 because in the equation, m and x are smushed together. That means they multiply. Now to do that, I did over here. Whenever you multiply a fraction times a whole number, you have to imagine that whole number as a fraction with a 1 underneath it. So it ends up being negative 11 times negative 10 and 2 times 1. So what we end up with is 110 over 2. 110 divided by 2 is 55. And that's where the 55 came from. If I subtract 55 from both sides, I should have b equals negative 52. Now, the last step is the easiest step. You've done all the hard work. All that's left is to write down the answer. So our final answer to this will be y equals negative 11 over 2 x minus 52. That's the final answer. So step 0 is labeling x1, y1, x2, y2. Step 2 is calculating the slope. Step 3 is using that slope and one of the coordinates to figure out what b is. And then you just throw it all into the sentence and you're done. I haven't been able to use it in a while, Daytona. I'll find you. I'll link it when we're about to leave here. Yeah, it's always been a problem. Like I'd put videos on YouTube and then the kids would try to watch them at school and it'd be blocked, which was really annoying. And even though I sent in the request to get it unblocked, it just never happened. But that's why the Flipgrid has been really nice, is that it gets past all the filters. So that would be an entire problem. Thank you, Skylar. Yeah. All right. The only way to get good at this is repetition. So let me clear out a bunch of junk and we'll try another one. When I post this, if you want to go back and rewatch I recommend you do that. Okay, I think we're good to try another one. So let's do this. Let me scoot this over a bit. Okay. Let's try this one. We're going to start with 3, -8. And we're going to end up at 6, -4. So we'll do this step by step. Now, depending on your comfort level, you can go ahead and launch out and try to do the whole problem if you want. It does not come from YouTube, Dayton. I'm saying that this tutoring session I'm doing right now will end up being recorded and saved, and I'll post that video on YouTube so that the people that couldn't be here can watch it, and that you guys can rewatch it as many times as you want. I've already done this demo. I've already done this whole process with 2 problems on Flipgrid and posted the link on Classroom. All right, so everyone should be well into step 0, labeling x1, y1, x2, y2. Go ahead and get your fraction rate. So the slope, I'm going to do -4 minus -8. Ew. Come on, 8. So -4 minus -8, that's y2 minus y1. X2 minus x1 would be 6 minus 3. The opposite of subtracting 8 is adding 8. So I get 4/3. Do you guys get 4/3 as the rate for this problem? Okay. Okay. So step 1 accomplished. That's y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. And I'm just going to leave it as 4/3. Okay, great. Wrong color. All right, define B. Chat, we need to pick. Do we want to use 3, -8 or 6, -4? It does not matter which. All right, 6, -4 it is. So I'm going to choose this. So I'm going to go ahead and write y equals mx plus b. I always like writing that. Like, it doesn't really help me mathematically, but it keeps me organized. I'm looking. These are parentheses. And then I drew an arrow above it because that's like a little note I do for myself when I have a double negative, like subtracting a negative number. Okay, so the y, because we chose 6, -4, that means the y value for us is going to be -4. Okay, the m, that's the rate, that's the slope. We calculated that already. That's 4/3. The x, I'm going to put this in parentheses. So the x value we chose, because we chose 6, -4 would be 6. And the only thing we don't know is b. I'm not sure what you mean, Lane, by both. Oh, like, yeah. If you, I mean, I can prove it real quick. I can just go ahead and do both. I'll do the other coordinate here in a second. So if you multiply 6 times 4 over 3, what you end up getting is 12 over 3. Oh, I'm sorry. 6 times 4 is 24. It'd be 24 over 3. Duh. Hopefully, we all know that 24 over 3 is equal to 8. So -4 equals 8 plus b. I'm going to have to move this a bit to get more room. So I would subtract 8 from both sides. And I would get that b is equal to -4 minus 8 would be -12. So the question now, to prove it, that it should come out the same if I had chosen the other coordinate, I can go ahead and crunch that out really, really fast. So y equals mx plus b. Let's say I chose the other coordinate. So my y value in this case, in this universe, would be -8. M would be the same. It'd still be 4/3. Then x, I'll put in some parentheses. Ew. Let me try to make a better parentheses than that. Da, 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 da. Okay, so if we chose 3, -8, the x value would be 3. And we still don't know what b is. Okay, so might need to scoot all this up a bit. And right now, all I'm doing is satisfying our curiosity. You don't have to do this twice to get the same answer. We should get -12 as well. So, okay. So 3 times 4/3. So we'd still have -8 here. 3 times 4, that'd be 12. So that would end up being 12/3 and plus the mystery b. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And the mystery b. So if we subtract 4 from both sides, yep, it comes out to be -12. So it does not matter which coordinate you pick because they're part of the same line. Well, that's the learning process. When you realize you're making those mistakes, it's like 99% chance you won't make them again because you figured out you made that mistake. So Lane, I hope that satisfies the curiosity. Okay, so we're not done. The final step is just to write the equation. So y equals our rate, which is 4/3, x minus 12. So if you're really good at the first part of this problem, but kind of hazy on the last part of the problem, if this was a multiple choice exam, you might be, usually you can cut out 2 of the 4 answers because if you know the rate is 4/3, there will be 2 of them that have 4/3 as the rate and then 2 that don't. So the back half would just help you narrow down to the exact answer. But being able to find the rate is really important because that can usually help you get through a test pretty quickly. And that's how these go. And once you get the rhythm, like the step-by-step process, and that becomes normal, these can go very quickly. I would say the biggest hangups, like the biggest the biggest parts that catch people from like skills they should have learned a long time ago is like right around here. When you've got to multiply a fraction times a whole number, if you don't remember how to do that, that can cause problems. Right in here, when you're calculating slope, people put it in the wrong order, or they mess up subtracting negative numbers, stuff like that. Those are big moments to be careful of. Or when they finally do get these down, this bit right over here, where you actually have to do a little bit of pre-algebra work, where you have to like remember how to solve two-step equations, like, oh, I need to subtract something from both sides. Those are the moments where like prerequisite skills really catch people, even if they are really good at following directions. All right. I'm going to clear this off and we will try us another one. The key here is that everyone should be aiming to do these successfully on their own. And then if you are getting them done correctly, try to do them faster than you did the last time. If you want a good self-assessment, if you can solve these in less than 2 minutes, then you're doing it on pace. You might think that 2 minutes is a joke, but it's not. That is the expectation, 2 minutes. Now I'm forgetting which one. I don't think we've done this one. Shocker, it doesn't even have a negative number in it. Okay, so we're going to go from 1, 1, 4, and we're going to end at 2, 2. So everyone needs to go as far as they can until they don't know what to do. I get a rate of -2. Y2 minus y1 be 2 minus 4, which is -2. X2 minus x1, 2 minus 1, which is 1. -2 divided by 1 is -2. I'm going to go ahead and just pick 1, 4 arbitrarily. So y value would be 4. Slope is -2. The x value is 1. Plus the mystery b. -2 times 1 is just -2. So to get b by itself, I would have to add 2 to both sides. So final answer, y equals -2x plus 6. All right, take a minute to look at your scrapbook and look at my scrapbook. And by all means, if I made a mistake, Let me know. That's a great moment for me. Answering a few emails. People asking me, is the Zoom meeting optional? Yes. Can't make you do it. This assignment already exists, and I knew this would be a booger, so I'm not assigning any more lessons. Um, if I pull up the scores, it's pretty low as far as accuracy. So I'll look at your period. Yeah, so you've already done yours for the week. You're fine. And your class period actually is very, very, very successful with this, which is good to see. Really good to see. Only one, two, three, only like less than 5 students in sixth period have actually done it. However, if I flip to the other class periods, yeah, only 2 or 3 have actually done it in first period. Proud to say some of them are here in chat today. But this is a hard one. There are no illusions. This is a very difficult seal, especially compared to the other two. The first one, you move the dots and draw the line, and the second one, where you just write the equation when they give you the line, are in a whole nother league compared to this one. This one is really rigorous. So yeah, second period, like 0 people have passed it in second period. Fifth period, only 2 people have passed it. It's not easy. It's really, really, it's really intense. The reason I'm saying it's not easy is because this year, and I've said this to every class period, that the one base skill that you guys are really not so great in this year is just algebra, like algorithmic thinking, like step by step process. And this thing is a monster of step by step process. We probably have time for one more before the hour is out. Does anyone have a question about this one in particular? Like, where'd that 6 come from? Why is it negative? Anything at all? Like, oh, I got this. Can you help me tell why I got this while we're here in real time? Otherwise, we can do one more. Okay. So I will do one more, and unless anyone has a request or a question, I don't see any screenshots in my email at the moment, which is probably the best way to get help with a specific problem. We will call it a day. So Will and I are reading Genesis Begins Again. You guys are in what, like chapter 7, 8, something like that? Okay. I think did we finish chapter 3 last night? We basically try to read one chapter a night, and since I just got it the other day, we're a little behind. I feel so, man, the writing makes me feel so bad. Now, no spoilers, but I'm gonna throw this out there. I have a prediction. So they just got to the okay, you guys are on 7. Okay. So they just got to the big house, the one with the white brick, and they've seen the backyard, and they've seen the rooms, and they've seen the pantry, and they've seen everything. And then her dad says, He's a shoo-in for this next job. And my heart just went, oh no. And my prediction is that he's not going to get the job and her life's going to keep fall apart again. Now I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'm hoping that's not what happens. I'm hoping he gets this job. But that's as soon as I heard the words shoe in, I was like, oh no. Okay, so let me get another problem. That was actually attempted by students and didn't go very well. I'm looking at different class periods. So if I pull one up that we've already done, please say so. I don't think we've done this one, but I may be wrong. So tell me, like you're the ones with scrap paper that didn't go away. So you'll have to tell me. -10. Oh goodness, my -10, -7, -5, -9. All right, so holler at me if we've already done this one. All right, no one said anything. So there's your challenge. Step one, try to get the slope, the rate of change by doing change of y over change in x. Step two, write the equation and fill in the y, the x, and the m, and then calculate what b is. And step three, write it as your answer. So, I'm pretty sure the rate is -2 or 5. If I'm wrong, please tell me because that'd be sweet if someone would notice, but I'm pretty sure that's right. So for this one, goodness, they're both bad choices. They both have negative numbers. I'm just going to choose the one that has the smaller digits in it, the -5. Well, I mean, one's bigger, one's smaller. Anyway, I'm going with -5 and -9. Just when I say arbitrarily, what I mean is it doesn't really matter. I got to pick something. So I'm just going to pick this one. So my y value is -9. M is -2/5. X is -5. Plus the mystery B. Okay. We'll see if that works out and see if we get the same thing. Um, -5 times -2 would be 10. So this would be -9 equals 10 over 5 plus b. -2 Yep. Okay. So that means that -9 would equal 2 plus b. And then if I take away 2 from both sides, running off the screen, I should end up with -11 as equal to b. So those are the two things I figured out. So the final answer would end up being y equals -2/5 x. And if you imagine it, that means that this line is going down 2 over 5, down 2 over 5, down 2 over 5, and it connects at the y-axis. Well, equal sign, what? -11. So this line goes down 2 over 5, down 2 over 5, down 2 over 5, and it connects with the y-axis at -11. And that is the hardest skill of the week. Now, all things, if nothing had gone wrong this week, if Claire hadn't gotten sick from her booster, well, she's fine. She just was sick during the night and in the morning. But if she had been feeling fine and I'd been in school, and if we hadn't been out today for nonsense, we would have practiced this for 2 solid days. So I feel compelled to put it on the assessment tomorrow, but I'm probably only going to put 1 on there. If you can graph a line from slope-intercept form, or if you can identify the equation from a line that you're given, that'll be the vast majority of it. And then one of these will be on there. And I guess for this one, if you can just figure out the rate, you get half the credit. The one part I was the most concerned with, because we've done calculating rate before, but this section, that's not a box. Draw, box, shape. Okay. This is the section I'm most worried about. The actual step-by-step process for substituting in the values, multiplying whole numbers and fractions, then doing 2-step equations, like all of that. That's what I was most worried about. But that's it. So in a minute, this takes a little bit to process to turn it into a video, and then it takes a little while to load it up on YouTube. But I can actually find the request was, what was my YouTube channel? 1 second. Haven't posted there since, well, it's been a while because, like I said, they have issues. Watching it at school. I'm going to post a link in chat and you guys can tell me if this works. Here, click that and see what happens. You're going to see some ancient is blocked, right? Lane says it's blocked. Anybody else? Yep, that's the county for you. Well, I guess if you try to watch it from a phone, that might work. Anyway, I'll do my bestest. The last time I tried to save the video and post it on Classroom, it also gets blocked. I don't know. So I promise to do my best. Even if it's blocked, I'll still do my best to get it shared out for the universe. So there it is. Writing slope-intercept form equations from 2 coordinates. I hope it's been informative. I hope you got something out of it. And I really appreciate, I can't believe how many of you guys actually showed up. You might think, well, yeah, it's cool, but you'd be surprised. Now, would it have been better if I had 90 show up? Yes, but still really appreciate you guys. So if you, yeah, I can send the link on Remind, and then maybe on your phones, it'll all work out. The blocking issue has to do with the county and YouTube. And it doesn't matter how many times I've asked them to fix it. They just somehow they can't. They don't trust the YouTubers, I suppose. Anyway, you're free to go. You've done your bit. Make sure you're checking Classroom from all your other classes. And I'll try to catch up to you guys by next week as I knock over my water bottle in the Genesis book because it's pretty good. It's written in a very visceral way.
Girl, I got the girl hush.
Always enjoy hearing Jacoby tell people to hush. All right, guys, I'm gonna shut it down. I hope we're all in person tomorrow because I miss you guys. All right, bye.
Bye, Mr. Mathews.
Bye.
Now, if I tell you to hush, just saying you got the hush. You got.
You're